Okay, thank you, Tony. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on SBDC Digital Marketing Training Series. I am Brian Young from the York College SBDC. I am a business advisor with the SBDC. This is part one of our six-part series, and part two is scheduled to be held next Thursday, July the 29th. This training series is presented by the New York SBDC at York College in collaboration with the York College Department of Business and Economics. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Harry Wells. He is the director of the SBDC at York College. Harry, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to say hello to everybody. I'd like to thank the great job that Miss Tony Coleman Brown always does. So does Brian Young. Brian Young has been with the SBDC for over 20 years. He's an ex-banker. So if you have any business problems or you need a business plan or financial statements, talk to Mr. Brian Young. Tonight I have the special privilege of introducing the person who gave us the money for this series. It's my pleasure to introduce Patricia Rock. Patricia Rock has a long history with Southeast Queens. She's been involved in projects in Southeast Queens since the early 90s. In the early 90s, she was on the board for the neighborhood services of Jamaica, right?
Neighborhood Housing Services, yes. NHS, Neighborhood Housing Services of Jamaica.
Yeah, Neighborhood Housing Service of Jamaica. And she did a lot. She was on the board for 5 years, and she did a lot with affordable housing, etc. She also was a banker for Chase Manhattan, for Chase and other banks. So she worked with the Greater Jamaica Development Corporation, Far Rockaway Revitalization, and she was always there to support them, give them money so they could, so they could grow and develop. And her money was always helping them with community development. So she's been doing this, as I said, she's been involved with Jamaica from the early 1990s. Recently, we started working with her. We'll sponsor 3 workshop series, mainly dealing with digital training, and we got the money from Miss Rock. By the way, Ms. Rock is also very active in dealing with CRA funds. You know, all the banks have to give money to provide money to go into communities to help their potential customers. And in that area, Ms. Rock has done a lot of work. I know she did a lot of great things for Mega Evers because I know people from Mega Evers. And I won't go on, but Miss Rock, Nia, we thank you very much for the money that you gave us for the 2 previous workshops, for the workshops for the one and only Miss Tony Coleman Brown, and we look forward to future working with you. So, Mrs. Patricia Rock.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wells. And as many of you may know, and you can see in my actual description on my Zoom panel is that I call myself Nia. It is a self-selected nickname that I've used actually the better part of my life. I selected it in my teens to represent, just to remind me that it's important for me to have a purpose to my work. So I feel very blessed and honored that throughout my banking career, I've I've been able to work closely with communities to support economic and community development through philanthropy and through direct service. I've attended, as Mr. Wells mentioned, I've been on several boards that focus on housing, affordable housing, and economic development, and just really excited to be able to support the New York State Small Business Development Center at York College. So we've been a supporter with during my tenure with Bank United, and that has been since March of last year. And prior to that, uh, Customers Bank was also a supporter of the Small Business Development Center. So I'm really excited. I won't take up much of your time, but I'm really thrilled to be invited to to witness this session, and I'd love to see all the great work that you're doing at with the direction of Tony Coleman Brown. And thank you so very much.
Okay, thank you, Nia,
Thank you.
and Bank United for providing funding support for today's webinar. Thank you. Today, you will hear from our presenter about marketing your products on Etsy, best practices. Uh, if you have any question, type it into the question box on your control panel, or if you have a working microphone or you dial in, raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon on your control panel, and we will unmute you. And tonight's program is being recorded and will be available in our YouTube channel. I'm hoping that you will come away from this webinar ready to get started with marketing your products on Etsy. Our presenter tonight is Tony Coleman Brown. Tony has an impressive track record of working with Queens business owners. Tony also has a lot of experience in training and capacity building for women and minority businesses. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you so much, Brian and Harry and Patricia, for offering this workshop. I'm excited to be the facilitator. I have to tell you that we've been working with some of the entrepreneurs on helping them build their Etsy stores with the Small Business Development Center. And what's been great is we've had the ability to work with a couple of young people as interns. And I see that we have one of them on the call tonight. And he was very integral in helping us with building Etsy stores for some of the entrepreneurs in the New York and Southeast Queens area. So, Brandon Dill, if you can hear me and you would like to unmute yourself and say hello to everyone, and maybe come on for a minute and just, say hi and talk a little bit about what's going on. If you could do that right now, that would be great.
Yes, yes. For some reason I can't show my camera. It's not giving me an option, but good evening, everyone. Yes, me and Tony been working hard on the Etsy website, and it's been really interesting. I've been learning a lot as well. So I'm excited to have you guys look at the work and to see and to help you guys as well.
Yes. So if you actually get in contact with York SBDC, we will be able to help you with your Etsy stores. So now we're going to go right into our presentation. If you guys give me just a quick sec so I can actually load it up. And we will go right into it. All right. So let me share my screen. Here we go. Can everybody see this okay? Just let me know.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So today is July 22nd, and we are going to get right into it. You already heard from Brian, Harry, and Patricia. Let's just go right into our agenda for tonight. So we're going to give a brief recap, not much, but of the last training that we did. And we're going to go right into some of the best practices in three key areas as it relates to Etsy. One is listing products. 2 is running ads, and 3 is in customer engagement. All right, so you guys already heard a little bit about me. I'm Toni Coleman Brown. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, author, coach, master lead generator, and trainer. And I have actually just worked and trained with hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs over the years, and it is absolutely my joy. But my why, I have to say, I always love putting up this slide because it is the reason why I do everything that I do, and it's because of my 2 girls, Sasha and Taylor. They are just the joy of my life. So why Etsy? First and foremost, you guys learned this the last time, but one of the reasons why I love the Etsy platform is because unlike some of the other platforms like Shopify or Squarespace or any one of those other platforms where you can build a website, Etsy is actually an online marketplace. So, what that means is Etsy is more like the Amazons of the world and the eBays of the world because it is a marketplace where people actually go to shop. One of the things that I love about Etsy is the fact that it has its own audience actually built into the platform. So, when you build an Etsy store, you are actually tapping into an audience that's already there. That's almost similar to being a third party seller on Amazon. So when you put your products on Amazon, they already have a built in audience. So basically, you're able to tap into that audience and grow your income. Also, people go to Etsy with buyer's intent. So what that means is that means people go there with the intent to buy, similarly to Amazon, people that visit Amazon go there with buyer's intent. So if you think about it at a glance, Etsy has 4.4 million active sellers and over 82 million active buyers. That's huge. And then 40% of the people that use the platform are repeat customers. So that in itself really tells you a lot about Etsy and the potential for you there. And it has been rated in 2019 as one of the top 10 retail websites. Now, this is a good thing to know because it gives you a good idea about what types of niches you may want to go into. 80% of the people who use the platform are women. So that's something that's really good to know. Getting started with Etsy is super easy. All you have to do is go to etsy.com/sell. And if you want to know more information about how to get started with Etsy, you can definitely go to the YouTube channel for York College. So that's York SBDC YouTube channel. And all you have to do is, go into youtube.com, go into the search bar, type in York SBDC, and it will come right up. You definitely want to subscribe because all of the digital marketing trainings that we have will go into that particular YouTube channel. So you can go back and look at all of the trainings that we did in the past because there's some great information that you can glean there. Now, if you have not gotten started with Etsy yet and you're thinking about getting started, you definitely want to go and watch this video because in this video, we actually go step by step through the process of actually getting started with Etsy. So I want to give you guys an update because the last time we did the training on getting started with Etsy, I actually used this particular shop. So with every bit of training that I do, I'm not the type of trainer that will just kind of like say, here, you go do this, you go do that. I actually do it. So I created a store called the Entrepreneur Success University store. And the reason why I wanted to create this particular store, because I wanted to show you that you don't just have to have a physical product to sell on Etsy. You can actually sell digital products on Etsy. So if you have a course, if you have a download, if you have any type of templates that you want to sell, you can sell them on Etsy. And I actually got one sale, guys. I just created the store. I put it up there, left it up there. I created the store for the course. And I left it there. And one day I looked up and I had a sale. And I was like, what is that? And I said, oh, that's right. I did create that store, right? So that just goes to show you that this actually works. So let's get into some of Etsy's best practices. And we're going to start out with talking about some of the critical things that you need to do when you list products on Etsy. Now, I want you guys to know this, and this is really, really important, because with Etsy, it's all in the listing. Now, you may have heard people say in the past, oh, it's all about the list, it's all about the list. And they were talking about list building. But with Etsy, it's all about the listing. A really good listing, guys, can get you sales without you even doing much after you've put it together. So what I did here was I showed you an example of a really good listing. And I'm going to point out some of the key elements, right? Some of the key elements are a really good picture of the product, also additional pictures of the product, a really, really good title for the product, okay, a good price, right? And then also here, more information, like offering gift wrapping or offering the opportunity if you buy this with another product, you could get free shipping. That's huge. Also, over here, look at all of the shop reviews. Reviews are a big thing, and we're going to get more into that. But let me just explain to you why a good listing is important. And we're going to go step by step into some of the best practices that most people use when they're listing products on Etsy. So there's some websites, and we're going to talk about this too a little bit more when we talk about ads. There are some websites like Facebook where it's all about the audience. On Facebook, if you know your target audience and you know what they like and you are really in tune with them, Facebook is a great place to be when it comes down to marketing and promoting your product. If you know what keywords your audience uses when they search, then Etsy is a great place to be. So Etsy, when you market and promote on Etsy, it's kind of similar to marketing and promoting on Google, right? Because basically Google is a search engine. Etsy is the same, similar. And if you've ever marketed and promoted a product on Amazon, Amazon is the same way too. So these websites are search-based websites, but Facebook is an audience-based website. And so is LinkedIn, and so is Instagram, and not so much Twitter, because Twitter is kind of like keyword hashtag. But when you deal with Etsy, the listing is important, because if you optimize the listing, that will allow you to rank on the site. That will allow you to get sales without you even thinking about it, because you will have the keywords strategically placed in your listing. So we're going to break that down, and what are some of the best practices that people are doing when they list items on Etsy, because that really is the key. If you have a great listing, you can get found via search without really doing anything else. So imagine that. You don't have to run an ad. You really kind of just set it and forget it. So we're going to go into some of those best practices for listing products, right? So one of the first things that you want to do is you want to go into, when you log in, after you're all set up, you're going to have access to this left navigation bar, which is your shop manager. And one of the things you're going to want to do is click here to listings. And then you're going to want to click add a listing. So this is really adding a product, whether it's a digital delivery product or a physical product. This is how you're going to do it. All right. And there are about 7 sections to a listing. So this is really important. And this is something that you just don't want to rush through, because if you do it right, you will really have a listing that could generate income while you sleep, right? So the first section in the listing is the photograph section, right? Now, one of the things you're going to want to do first and foremost is add as many photos as you can. And if you have photos of your product on different angles, you want to put those in this listing as well. But here's the key, and this is one of the best practices. You want to put your best pictures first. So you want to make sure that the picture that is the first one that everybody sees in the listing, you want to make sure that is your best one. You definitely want to list as many photos as you possibly can. And also, if you can, when you name your photos, now these are some of the little stealthy things that a lot of people won't tell you. But if you name your photos after those keywords, that will help you as well. So everywhere you turn, you want to make sure that you're using keywords, right? So if your product is a bath bomb, you may want to call it bath bomb red photo 1, bath bomb red photo 2, bath bomb red photo 3, right? And then if you have variations of the product, so say for instance, if you have bath bombs that are, in different scents, and one is pineapple and one is strawberry, you want to link to all the different variations that you have of the product. And you can do that in the photos section. All right. Now, the next section is video. Now, if you can add a video to your listing, definitely do so, because a video, first and foremost, is everything. And even if you see here in this blue box, even Etsy says shoppers are more likely to purchase an item if you have a video of that item. So if you can include a video, definitely do that. And here's what you want to do with your videos. And next week, when we go into YouTube, you're going to find some of the same thing, because some of the same stealthy tips, because YouTube is also a search-based website. So a lot of the things that I'm talking about tonight that will help you on Etsy, they will also help you on YouTube or on any search-based websites. So like I said before, some websites are audience-based, like Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and some websites are search-based, like eBay, Amazon, Etsy, and things like that. So if you upload a video, the same way with the photos, you want to use the keyword when you save it, right? You want to save the video with the keyword as well. So if your video is about your bath bombs and they're like strawberry scented bath bombs, you want to say this video is about, you want to save the file as strawberry scented bath bombs. And you want to save it exactly the way people search, right? And, we're going to go into it a little bit later in the presentation, but you want to think like Google, and when you go into typing, like when you're looking up something in Google, nobody uses one word. Everybody uses at least 2, but most people use 4 to 5 word phrases. So if the more keywords you can add to the file name, the better, okay? But video is everything today. So if you can add a video to your listing, you definitely want to include that. Now in section 3, in the title, you definitely want to include the keywords in the title. And let me tell you why this is important, guys. It's important because when people search on Etsy, only the first few words of your product will be shown. So the first few words that you include in the title is critical. You want to make sure that those first three words are definitely the keywords, right? And so you also are going to fill out this section, which is about this listing. And this is where they're going to ask you questions like who made it? And they want it usually to be made by you or somebody in your company. What is it? When did you make it? They want it to be recent. Hopefully it's not old, but if you're selling vintage stuff, then I think that's fine too. Then there's categories, right? So there's categories like women's lingerie or coffee mugs or journals and things like that. So there's a ton of categories. So you want to make sure that you're listing your items in the right categories. Now, this section is really important as well because you want to let Etsy know whether or not they can automatically charge you for a listing or they can manually charge you for a listing, meaning that I'm going to let you know if I want this item to be listed every month, or I'm just going to put it on automatic so the item is automatically listed every month and it doesn't disappear from the store. And then you can tell them whether it is a physical item or a digital download. And all of that is important. Now, this description section is just everything. You want to put as much information as you possibly can in the description section because, I'm not going to say that you should overload it with keywords, but some of your main keywords should definitely also be in the description because that's what's going to help you. Now, let me just explain for those of you who may or may not understand. When people go to Etsy and all of these websites that are search-based websites, what tends to happen is they enter information and then Etsy has its own, web crawlers that's going to scroll through all of the information on the site super, super fast, right? In nanoseconds, right? And they're going to look for the items that have the keywords listed the most. They're also, because it's also algorithm based, of course, they're going to look at other things like, okay, who's selling the most, who's advertising, who has the most reviews, because all of that plays a part in how you're going to rank. So you want to make sure that you put as much as you can in the description because that will help you rank even when you're new, right? So this is more with the description section. And then with the tags, tagging is really important as well. You want to, choose your tags wisely, and you want to choose your tags and tag your product the same keyword strategy that you're going to use are the same strategy. It's the same strategy that you will use when you're tagging. You can include up to 13 of them. And they will give you ideas, but there are other places that you can go for ideas as it relates to keywords that you want to use in your description and keywords that you want to use in your tags. And let me tell you what the best practice is. Utilize Google because Google is great because Google, when you start typing stuff, have you ever noticed in Google that it finishes your sentence before you can even get out the second word? Well, you want to utilize Google because that's the type of intelligence that you want to use when you're putting together your keyword strategy. You want the type of intelligence that will finish your sentence because it almost knows what you're thinking even before you can finish typing. So they're giving you big time clues with regards to what you should include in your keywords. And then when you go to Google, at the bottom of every search, they always include other phrases people are using to search for that particular item or to search for whatever it is you're searching for. So all you have to do is really copy and paste what you get from Google. And if you want to use another website to do the same thing, you can use Amazon because it has the same type of intelligence. It will give you the information, it'll complete your sentence before you even finish typing. And that's what you want. And you can utilize that And then you can begin to put that right over here on Etsy and help you build out your Etsy listing. Now here for materials. Okay, so if you use a certain type of material like silk or satin or something like that, or if it's vegan and all of that, you want to make sure to include that here because that's really important for people where that matters. If something is gluten free, you want to include all of that in your listings, because yes, people do sell food on Etsy. And then section 4 is your inventory and pricing section. This is important too because you want to put how many items you have. You want to make sure like not everything is just like one, or two or three, but if that's the case and it's rare, that's good because it's showing that this is a rare item. I only have 3. If you like it, you need to get it now. So that's important. So you want to make sure that like utilize the quantity very strategically, right? And price. Now, if you're selling something that a lot of people are selling, you want to be strategic with your pricing. What I advise you to do and what I consider to be a best practice is don't race yourself to the bottom. Don't, be one of those sellers that will go out and look at what other people are pricing their products at and say, okay, I'm going to be the cheapest. Because if you do that, then you're always going to be the cheapest. You don't want that. You don't want to be the cheapest. You want to be the best quality, the best customer service, and all of that stuff. So don't do the race to the bottom thing. But what you can do is offer specials from time to time. And that will help you out a lot because that will get you sales as well. And then in sections 5 and 6 is variations and personalization, right? So you may have a lot of different variations of, say, for instance, your bath bombs, because bath bombs for some reason sell really well on Etsy. So you may have pineapple, mango, strawberry, blueberry, all watermelon, all of these different variations of the item. So you can quickly add all of those different variations in this section here. And then personalization. If you're selling like coffee mugs or bracelets or t-shirts or something where you could put somebody's name on it, right? That's where you can do the personalization. So if you have a mug and you want to put names on it, and that particular item could be personalized, all you got to do is turn this on and it will add personalization. A lot of people love the personalized items on Etsy. So there are a lot of different things that you can get personalized here that probably could do really well. Then this section right here, shipping. This is where you might want to spend a lot of time. And this is something that, when it comes down to listings, once you kind of have a rhythm, you can pretty much cut a video and teach somebody how to do your listings. But in the beginning, when you're first starting out, you might want to spend a lot of time of your own time creating the listings because this section right here is something that pretty much you as the business owner is going to be able to complete. So for pricing, I mean, your shipping prices. Sometimes you could do free shipping. It depends upon you and your product and your margins. But you want to be careful with this, right? You want to make sure that you set your shipping prices right because you don't want to end up having to pay like a ton for shipping and it eats up into your profit margin. So what I advise you to do, if you have an item and you have like a scale at home, get a good scale, weigh your items so you can know exactly what you should charge for shipping, right? So some of the things that they're going to want to know is what zip code that you're going to be shipping from, what's your processing time, and be realistic with this and be truthful because if you can't process like immediately, then don't put it because that will leave a bad customer experience if you put that it's immediate and it's not. But processing time, all of that stuff actually plays a part in a buyer's decision, so you want to make sure you pay close attention to that. and where you will ship. This is really important because shipping in the United States, we pretty much know how much that's going to cost. But shipping abroad, let me tell you something, it can kill your profit margin if you're not careful. So make sure if you're not shipping out of the country that you put US and US only. Because if you put US and worldwide, and oh my goodness, it could be a lot. But some people in other countries are willing to pay for the shipping. So you just have to really kind of figure that out as a business person. But if you're not shipping abroad, put US only, okay? And the type of shipping services that you're going to use, you can put that here, and you can put whether or not it's free shipping or not. And if you charge people a little bit for handling, like you may charge for envelopes or different things like that, or, just processing and packaging it all together, you are going to want to maybe put a little bit there. So be mindful of that, but that's a business decision, and people will pay attention to that, and that will play a part in their buying decision. So make sure that you do this and you do this right, okay? And tariff number, and they pre-fill that information, and so you're pretty good with that part. But shipping is important, and this is where having a scale really comes into play, and also knowing how you're going to package and ship your item and what the size of the packaging is going to be when it's packed. Are you going to use a box? What size is it? Measure the inches by length and by width and height so that you can, have all of this information together when you're ready to ship. So that's really important. And like I said, listing is important. And you want to pay attention to that shipping section because it could be a little bit tricky. And the last section is section 8, and that is the marketing section. And here's the thing, if you are running an ad campaign, and running ads with Etsy is really, really simple and easy. But if you're running a campaign, basically what they're going to do is they're going to add the listing to a campaign if you click yes. But if you click maybe later, it will not. So you want to be mindful of that as well, because you may not want your new item to go into an advertising campaign. So be careful with that one. All right, now here's how you can save some time when you're listing products. Because as you can see, there were 8 sections, guys, 8 sections that you have to complete. So you want to make sure that you are saving time. Now, you can save time by adding your variations, and I showed you how to do that. And if you have, like I said, if you have a bath bomb and you have a whole bunch of different variations of the bath bomb, but for the most part, the description is the same. It's just a different scent. So adding variations can definitely save you time, so you're not constantly copying and re-entering all of the information. You can also bulk upload your information by going to etsycsb.com. And then you can create a template of a former listing, and all you have to do is go to a listing, click copy, add the new pictures, change the title, change some of the description and some of the other elements, and that will save you time as well. And then you might want to just make sure you create something like a checklist so that when you're going through it, you know some of the things you need to change and some of the things you don't need to change. All right. Now, everybody wants to have a listing that convert, right? And we talked about a lot of the things that you can do to make your listing convert, but make sure that you always put your best photos first. Make sure that your titles are short, but that they include, your keywords. And remember that people will only see the first few words of your title. So make it count. And your price, don't race to the bottom, but be competitive. And make sure that if you're running campaigns, free shipping, or any type of special offers, make sure that you are not eating into your margins, because you always want to factor in your listing fees, You also want to factor in the fact that Etsy will take 5% off of every sale. You also may want to factor in, you may have fees with, you know, your merchant. You may have fees with that, associated with that, with PayPal and all of that stuff. And you also have shipping costs. You also have the cost for the item, right? So you have to factor all of those things in when you are listing an item and pricing an item, because you don't want to price it in a way that you're just not making any money. That's one of the reasons why I love digital items. I love selling digital items, because when you sell items that are digital delivery, there's no overhead, there's no product costs. You know, you can just sell it and most of the money is going to come to you. So digital delivery is great. And special offers and ads definitely can help you drive traffic and drive sales. But remember that you want to incorporate all of that into, you know, your overhead, your costs, because remember, we're in business for profits, and we don't want to have anything, you know, that we're selling. And then at the end, after all of the costs are taken out, we're only really making like $1 or $2. You don't want to do that. So be careful. And you also want reviews. Okay. So it may be good if when you first put a product up there, if you could get some of your family and friends to purchase it and leave a review, that would be great, because that helps your store. All right. So, like I said before, you want to think like Google when it comes down to Etsy. And it's all about the way people search. And like I told you before, use Google and Amazon as tools. Because, you know, if you're selling coffee mugs or if you're selling bath bombs, go to Google and see what's popping up, you know, as keywords, and see what's popping up as descriptions, see what comes up first on Google, and just utilize that same information. You know, that's how you do your research, and you just are, you know, doing what I call, you know, what do they call it? Research and development, R&D. I call it rip off and duplicate. So you want to go and you want to rip off and duplicate all of the things that everybody else is doing. So the next thing we want to cover is Etsy advertising. But before I go into that, I'm just going to take a quick second, and I'm going to come back to the presentation, come back to you guys. And I want to know, does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Anything in the chat? The chat is quiet. I must be doing a great job, huh, Brian? Because everybody is quiet. So that's good. All right. So I'm going to go back into the presentation and, you know, start the screen share again so that we could get into the best practices as it relates to advertising. Okay. Now, one of the things that you're going to find is that advertising with Etsy is like super, super easy. It's not overly complicated like advertising on Facebook. Facebook is great for advertising, but you want to make sure you're following Facebook's rules, because you don't want to get penalized, kicked off, or anything like that. But some of the benefits of advertising at any point in time is because it allows you to get your content, and it allows you to get your products and your listings in front of more people. And that's always the goal, right? But the one thing that you want to remember is that even if you get your items in front of more people and they click on it, a click doesn't always convert. Just like in other places, likes don't always convert to buys, clicks don't always convert to sales. So the listing and how you have it set up is so important. But you can get started with advertising on Etsy for as little as $1 a day. And I mean, and it's super, super easy. I'm going to show you how fast it is to get started. So when you go over here to your shop manager, all you have to do is go over to marketing. And when you click on this tab, this is what you're going to see. Reach more buyers with Etsy ad. ads, and you can click on get started. Once you do that, it's this pop-up is going to come up and it's going to say specify what type of results you're looking for. Most of the time, most of us are looking to drive more sales, right? So I would advise you to click on that. And then it says next, set your budget. Then this screen is going to pop up, and then it'll let you set a budget for $1 a day, $5 a day, or $25 a day, or you can choose a different amount. And then all you have to do is start advertising. To test, I would test with $5 a day, not necessarily $25 a day, until I know that what I have with this particular listing is working and is good. So you can click on start advertising, and that's it. You're done. So it's not like on Facebook where you have to create campaigns and you have to, say what you're looking to do. Then you have to upload the photos, and you have to, you don't have to do all of that. But here's the thing with Etsy, what's going to happen is it's going to start, advertising for all your listings. Okay. So, I only have 3 things in this particular store, but it's going to start the advertising for everything. So what you have to do is you have to come over here and you have to turn the ad off if you don't want you don't want to run it for all of your items. And for $5 a day, you really only want to test 1 item for $5 a day. I wouldn't test 3 items at $5 a day because it's just not enough, right? So, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I said that when you're doing your listing and you get to the marketing tab and it says, do you want to run ads? Because if you're already running ads, what's going to happen if you add a new product, it's just going to scoop it up and put it in this marketing and advertising campaign. So you really don't need to do that. I would only test a few things. And one of the key things that I think that would be really smart to do is if you were selling an item, like say for instance, if I had like 3 different variations of a coffee mug, right? What I would do is I would run ads on the 3 different variations so that I could see which variation sells the best. And then what I would do is just run traffic to that particular variation. So, because to me, if you're selling like bath bombs or something like that, and you have 10 different variations of a bath bomb, it doesn't make sense to run ads on all 10 all the time. You want to run your ad on the best one, right? The one that does the best, because when somebody goes to that one bath bomb, they're going to see all your other variations. So it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to test in the beginning and then have all your dollars flow to the one that's working the best. So that's one of the key things that you want to do with that. And remember when I said as it relates to ads and running ads is simple. But running ads on Etsy, which is a search-based website, is very different from running ads on Facebook, which is an audience-based website. And so, like, when you run an ad on Etsy, you're going to think about people and how they search. So you may, if you're doing coffee mugs, you may be looking for people who search for coffee mugs, people who search for coffee cups, people who search for personalized mugs, right? But if you were running ads to mugs on Facebook, you would look for people who like coffee, people who like tea, people who like Starbucks, people who like that was supposed to be Folgers. Okay, so it's different. It's different. So you have to put on 2 different types of hats when you're thinking about advertising on Etsy. Think search. Facebook, that's a totally different beast. That's audience based and it's based on the audience interests. Very different. Now let's move into customer engagement for the last few minutes of the presentation tonight, because this is just like super, super important. You want to engage with the people that buy from you. You want to, make sure that you are giving like the best customer experience ever. One of the things that you will find about Amazon is that they base their business around one thing. And it's interesting because when Amazon, I remember when Amazon first started, it was just about becoming the world's best bookseller. But also they had a huge promise. They were almost like Domino's. You know how Domino's say we will get it to you in 30 minutes or less. Amazon was like, we'll get you your book and we'll get it fast, delivered right to your door. So they initially launch thinking about becoming the world's biggest bookseller. But once they launched, they realized that, you know what? We are really all about customer fulfillment. So, what else can we get to people's door fast? And that's when they branched out into this whole new world, innovation and marketing. And I mean, and really, they market, hey, we'll get it to you, we'll get it to you fast. What do you need? You need it tomorrow? We'll get, hey, go to Amazon. And that's huge. So that's the type of engagement you want to have with your customers. So once you find a niche that's really working, that works for you, some of the things that you want to do is start building your mailing list. Oh my God, like I said before, everything with Etsy is in the listing, but really when you start building your list, that's just the key to everything. And what's really cool is one of the things that you should have picked up as we were going through the listing is that you could offer stuff for free. You can offer stuff for free shipping and you can offer stuff digitally. Now, think about this. If I was selling, say, a crock pot, okay, like an old fashioned crock pot that is just hard to find, or a ceramic bowl that is just hard to come by, one of the things that I might do with that crock pot sale is I may offer a free recipe or maybe a couple of free recipes or a guide, a free guide that's like digital delivery, digital download, something where I can get my customers to give me their information and I can start collecting names and email addresses. They might not even buy the crock pot, but they may get the recipes, right? Or the guide. And you'll have their information. It'll be counted as like a sale. I mean, that's something that's complementary and non-competitive to your product, but that's a good way to begin to build a list so that you can engage people with a newsletter or with the initial email series. They may get the guide or they may get the free recipe and they may not get the crock pot right away. But guess what? Now you have their information. You can begin to engage with them. Anytime you add something new to your store, you can engage with them and you can send them an email and let them know that, hey, this is new in the store. You can also, start doing some abandoned emails when people put things in a shopping cart and they don't purchase. You can begin to create special thank you messages. And even if it's something that you have to fulfill an order and, you're fulfilling the order from, say, your home, maybe it's a book or a journal or a bath bomb, you can, really do some great things with your packaging, that really makes it special. And a lot of people love to do unboxing videos. Some of the things you can encourage your purchasers and your buyers to do is to create these unboxing videos. And if you have great packaging, I mean, that could really help your store, or you can create your own video and just show how it would come out when an unboxing video, and you can add that to the listing and even make it better. One of the things that you definitely want to do when it comes down to engagement is always go the extra mile. Ask for the reviews, send a coupon for their next purchase, include a card or a special note, send a business card. Or if you are somebody who is creating bath bombs and you have a sample of some new ones, put a sample of a new one or an upcoming fragrance or a discontinued fragrance but was fan favorites, include that in there. I mean, you always want to go the extra mile and make your customers feel welcomed, make them feel like they want to come back again, and definitely make them feel like they want to leave a review because you just made them feel good. And that's what it's all about when you're running a store, because we like to patronize people that make us feel good. So that's really important, guys. So, with that, if you want to learn more, right? Because we can only go through so much in a webinar. But if you want to learn more, Etsy has this thing called the Seller's Handbook. You could go to Etsy.com and get the Seller's Handbook. And what's really cool about it is they have all of these different articles on every single aspect of the stores, right? And all of the different best practices, ideas, tips, and tricks on photography, the best practices of branding your product, right? 21 articles here. Getting found, right? We just went through the listing and all of that and all of the ways that you want to get your product found on the stores. There's 39 articles about that. Shipping, some of the tips and tricks to save you money and time when fulfilling your orders, 19 articles on that. The legal aspect, right? So if you have intellectual property, like you're selling maybe downloads, digital downloads, some of the best practices for that, 20 articles. Pricing, taxes, finance, 19 articles. How to be more productive, 46 articles on that. Growth strategies, 88 articles on that. So community, there's workspaces, there's probably, a lot of different things in the community section, events that are happening in the community. You can, see there's like hundreds of articles on that. Seasonal tips. Oh my God, we're about to go into the biggest buying season of the year, right? So definitely some of the best seasonal tips. You definitely will want to take advantage of that. And especially if you sell items that are seasonal. Like I have someone in my network that's selling it's Kwanzaa items. So yeah, seasonal tips. You definitely are going to want that. So definitely check out this handbook and some of the articles that are there because it can inspire you and give you ideas and help you really take your Etsy store to the next level. So this is one of the stores that we actually created, and Brandon and Joshua helped me put this together with Stoosh Retail. So we helped, she is a SBDC client, and we helped her to create her store. And we can definitely help you create your store as well. So one of the things that you want to do is email SBDC at york.cuny.edu, or you want to give us a call, right? Give Harry and Brian a call at 718-262-2880. We will definitely help you get your Etsy store together, and definitely take a look at the previous video because we talked about, listing a product. We went into details with getting your store up and running and how you can use Canva. Like this banner was done with Canva, and how you can use that to create a nice banner and really make your store look really great on Etsy. Okay, and we're here to help you with that. So with that being said, I want to say thank you on behalf of Brian, Harry, myself, and Patrice that definitely helped us, bring this to you. We want to say thank you. Thank you to Bank United, SBA, York College for really helping us bring this great information to you. I hope that you found that it was helpful. And with that, I'm gonna ask if there are any questions. You can put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A. Other than that, Brian, you want to close us out?
Oh, thank you, Tony. Great job. And if we don't have any more questions, we can go ahead and wrap things up. So thank you, Tony, for
All right,
presenting today.
let's see. Oh, we had great webinar. That was from Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks for the feedback. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back here next week, and we're going to be talking all about YouTube, one of my favorite platforms, YouTube. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks again, Tony. Thank you.
All right. Bye.